Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the treasure spawn that just came out. Even though I have been busy all day, I'm feeling quite energetic. I don't know, I guess I know why. I was actually running today with actually milk cartons in my hand, both hands. Oh my god, my muscles were crying, but oh, it was pretty good. It actually somehow gave me more energy. It wasn't coffee. It wasn't no supplement. It was just straight up exercising. I think it does help though, because sometimes when I go ham on exercising, I just feel stupidly energetic. Anyways though, moving on from there, let's actually get to the spawn, and let's see if it's going to be worth it or not. So, okay. So right here, we got the new monster, the new featured monster. So, I don't even know what she's called. Cordella? I hope I called that right, named it right, whatever. Anyways, moving on from there. What's interesting also about this one is her gear is free to play. Her gear is free to play, but the monster itself is pay to win, and they replaced it with just a totally new monster. Like, this is the free to play monster. I think this should be the pay-to-win monster, and the other one should be the free-to-play, but they do them. I'm not really all too concerned about it. Just found it kind of weird, personally. Anyways, let's actually get to this. Okay, so we got target all enemies with an ability power of 140. The success value is going to be 70, so not all the moves are going to be guaranteed to hit 36 times. So, we'll do possibly a couple scratches. I can tell you right now, though, damage is not the strong suit of this monster, though. If you judge a monster by its damage alone, I'm gonna tell you, that's a big mistake. That's a huge mistake. Please do not judge a monster by its damage alone. Sometimes damage could be a good indicator for some stuff, but just overall for Unison, whether it's good or not, does not matter for the damage whatsoever. I heard one of my previous guildmates that technically quit this game already talk about that, and he said something on the line where people are judging monsters by how much damage they do. Please don't do that. Please don't be one of those people, because if you do that, you're going to miss out on potentially 70 to 50% of all the monsters that would actually be considered good, but you call them crappy because of the damage. Anyways, moving on from there, let's go on. Okay, so we got target all enemies, success value 70, prohibits Unison for 60 seconds. This right here is a monster for Coliseum and dual rooms. Not the best choice, but an option, because she prohibits Unison, and that is pretty clutch, because when it comes to dual rooms and Coliseums, it's not like guild battles where if you do a Unison battle, whichever team wins, all of them go first. It's for this, like Coliseum and dual rooms, it's whoever goes first. Whoever casts their monster first goes first. There will be a win and lose. There will be a win and lose situation. There will be a battle score situation. So, if you like win or lose, it decides who goes first on the people who cast first on the enemy teams. They decide who goes first for the battle. After the battle is over, whoever lost goes second. So that's pretty much how that works out. Anyways, moving on from there, let's actually talk about the rest of this. Target all enemies, removes frenzy. That's gonna be great for maybe I don't even know if they're gonna come out with 45 costs. I don't know what to expect for 45 costs. They already covered all the 40 costs, so the only way this could be, 40 costs are getting outdated. They're getting to that point. They really are. But yeah, I know for a fact this will be great for what was it called again? Guild raids. Yeah, guild raids. Cause you deal with that Valkyrie and she casts frenzy. And if you could just add debuffs and just shred her health quickly, that'd help. I'm not gonna say like it's essential, it's a must-have for guild raids, but it should probably help having a monster that remove frenzy. Let alone, there's already, I think, 2 other monsters that can do that. There's not a wide variety, but there is a variety out there. So this is not the only monster that does that. It's going to increase cost recovery speed, going to recover 30 costs for all allies. It's going to reduce ability cooldown times for all allies by 50% for 60 seconds. So that's the maximum cooldown time you can actually get is 50%. So you can't go over that whatsoever. And then it's going to apply Kinjin to yourself. And then it's going to apply this new field debuff called Oblivion Collapse. Increases cooldown time by 30% for the enemy field for 60 seconds. That is kind of more of a towards a player versus player monster. Cooldown time doesn't work for player versus enemy. It's action speed for player versus enemy, so that's all player versus player right there. Maybe it's action speed for player versus enemy, but if it's just straight up cooldown time, like it says, like they didn't mistype it whatsoever, this is actually 100% what they say it is, it's only going to be, that field buff's debuff is only going to be useful for player versus enemy. And I mean player versus player, not player versus enemy, my bad. So anyways, moving on from there, definitely a very nice monster. It's a decent split between player versus enemy and player versus player, because it's got like that cost recovery speed, recovers cost, ability cooldown times, that stuff, and Kinjin. All that stuff's great for player versus enemy. Absolutely, all hands down, no questions asked. It's not the best, but it definitely it's helpful stuff. All hands down, this is a helpful monster for player versus enemy. Then for player versus player, it's got like prohibit Unison. For guild battles, would this be a great monster to throw? Maybe for Crystal Assault if you have some other monster that helps buff and Unison Gauge gains. But overall, a starting monster, I don't think this would be this would be the best choice. So guild battle, this is like in between, kind of alright to use for guild battles, definitely, but it's not the best choice for guild battles. I think that's its weakest location, its weak link towards everything in the game. Other than that, it's a pretty good monster. Though, would you absolutely need this monster? Like, is this monster meta? Like, if you don't have this monster, are you missing out? My answer to that is absolutely not. Absolutely not. The most exclusive thing this monster has, besides the fact that it actually does a full 50%, which is the maximum you can get, is the removes frenzy. Because there's only, I think, 2 other monsters that can do that. Other than that, everything it has, it can't, like, there's a variety of monsters out there going all the way down from 30, is this 38 or 37? I forgot what this is. 38 costs to 32 costs. There are a variety of monsters that could do cost, like give you cost recovery speed, ability cooldown times, you just got to get, they can do all that stuff. Those are really the only exclusive things, and her field buff also, but like I already told you the limitations with that. And Kinjin could be helpful for player versus enemy. If you got like Hero or Kinjin or Blessing, stuff like that would be helpful as well. Well, there's also other monsters that could do that. So again, all of her moves are not really exclusive. Most of her moves, ironically, are player versus enemy. And with that being said, when it comes to player versus enemy monsters, you usually, unless it's like a 40 cost and it's like one of those events where it's like elemental locked, you usually don't need the monster whatsoever. You don't need the new treasure spawn monster whatsoever. Because no matter what you're going for, like I said, unless it's like elemental locked, you can't go more meta than you already got, because there's so many monsters out there that do this exact same thing. That's really how A-Team really gets the hook for player versus enemy monsters. It's how really the only way A-Team can really like actually obtain people's money and keep them interested in actually spawning player versus enemy monsters. So that's my full intake on that monster and everything surrounding it. So let's get to the rest of the spawn, see if it's going to be worth it. Spawn 10, gonna have no rates like usual to actually obtain any of the new feature gear, let alone it's not in here. The only thing that is in the monster. You will have double chance. Double chance will activate after every first time half off, and after each and every jackpot you get, you'll get also 50 to 200 medals. I was about to say gems. Nope, you're not getting gems sadly, but you will be getting medals. So you'll get 1 chest besides the double chance. Double chance only activates during those times. Other than that, you're only getting 1 chest. There's 6 chests in total. What we got cooking in the chest. Summoning Scroll will have the lowest rates. So all of you new players out there, keep in mind, Summoning Scroll will have the lowest rates out of everything in the jackpot. So don't expect to get that. A nice twist they have though is they actually have the monster just downright flat. Like, here you go. Here's the monster. It will be random stats, so keep that in mind, but you could downright get the monster, and that will have higher rates, by the way. Will it have, like, great rates? No. If you were there for the treasure spawn, when, like, they had the Warlord treasure spawn, right? And they had, like, you had a chance to get, like, I think it was like 1k medals or 3k medals, or you had a chance to get like the exclusive weapons or like the warlord monsters like Shuriken, Yukimar, stuff like that. I've done that spawn so many times. There is one time I've gotten 3k medals. One time. I've not touched the monster. I've not touched Misunari or Liatsu Summoning Scroll. I've not touched the warlords whatsoever out of that whole treasure spawn, and I've gotten multiple jackpots. I'm talking like 5 to 10 total jackpots. None of those times have I touched the monster. So very likely this will also be pretty hard to get, though it's going to be more possible to get the Summoning Scroll. So keep that in mind. And with these types of jackpots, the ones that are 900 to 1,300, it actually might have boosted rates. I'm not going to say boosted by like, oh, you actually have a high chance to get it. I'm talking maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5% more of a chance each time you do a jackpot. So just keep that in mind. I like what they're going for this one. They have select weapons, select defense gear, medals in the side chest, XP quest keys, and droplets of ether. If they could replace those XP quest keys with medals, that would be looking like a fine treasure spawn to do. At least by the rewards that you're actually getting out of the chest, let alone. So anyways, with the select weapons, all they're doing is bringing back the dark banner and the light banner stuff. These gears right here, cut to the chase, have abilities and skills that just kill the opposite element. Light kills dark and time, and then dark kills light and time as well. So time, though, when you actually look at these abilities, they don't get a rate boosted against time enemies, though when they do activate, definitely very deadly against time regardless. And they got like an ability that helps increase your elemental attack against whatever by whatever seconds, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So they're great against time and the opposite element, whether it's light or dark or light. I hope you get where I'm getting at. I think you do. So anyways, let's move on from there to actually look what they got in here. Okay, so this is an indication that I like to use this. This is not guaranteed to actually tell you the actual rates of everything you're getting in here and everything surrounding that scenario and situation. But this generally helps indicate, because a team does this themselves. So they judge how much it's going to be based on how hard they usually make it to actually obtain. And considering that it's actually 9k instead of 10k for a brand new spanking monster, what they're telling you is you're actually going to have slightly higher chance, usually, unless somebody slacked off. Usually you have slightly higher chance to actually obtain the monster than the jackpot. That's what that's pretty much telling you for the 9k. I also noticed this, there was one time they came out with a treasure spawn, just a throwback monster treasure spawn, and there was a time where the scrolls were like 5k, 6k medals maximum, and let me tell you, I was spawning it, and I was getting a lot of 34 to 36 cost scrolls, let alone, I only did the spawn a couple times, but when I did it, I got, I think, 2 34s, 2 35s, and 1 36, and I was like, wow. It's amazing, or something of the sort. I was getting really high costs for no types of reasons. I was questioning the game's mechanics and whether the spawn was glitched or not. And I actually looked at the treasure spawn and I'm like, wow, I'm actually use this as kind of like what's it called? Verification. That's the word I'm looking for, to see whether it's usually going to have, not always, because this is a good, like, it's kind of like predicting the weather. You're predicting how hard it's going to be pulled from the jackpot. If it's 10k, it's pretty dang hard. If it's lower than 10k, though, it's easier than usually to actually pull a monster from the jackpot. Though 9k is not going to be significant difference. It's pretty cool that they actually do that for 9k instead of 10. That also means that it's actually cheaper to get in the medals to actually obtain the monster, and I like how when they make things cheaper than they usually do, because it's more fair to all you people out there that have to suffer using either your free-to-play gems or your wallet. So anyways, moving on from there, we got the royal stuff in here. This stuff's pretty dang handy. Not the best stuff in the game, but definitely, especially considering that it's one cost behind. But the stuff it has, very good. If you're building a critical Lancer, this ability is definitely great. If you're building, this helps both your soldier, by the way, because soldiers use attack and defense. This helps buff mages, so that way they do more damage. This is actual. Oh, this removes status alignments and debuffs from ally and their adjuncts and allies. and this helps with critical hit. So these are all buffing moves, and they also do damage, which is really, really cool. So the ability of these are great. They're going to be 1 cost behind the max cost right now, I will tell you that. And then the damage down double XLs, awesome skills. Great skills. If you already have these and you don't have these infused and you do have a couple to spend, I think I personally would recommend doing these. You don't have to. You could save up to like, they come out with a 38 cost treasure spawn with gears that you could actually obtain through the chest and the metal exchange. You could do those if you want. All hands down, you do you. But definitely with the skills these all have and like the abilities of these are definitely still worth your time looking at and everything surrounding that. Other than that, once we go below that, besides like reflection reduction, perhaps say, and maybe you want a quick fatal testament or you want the cosmetics, other than that, it's just element. That's the only reason you would go for anything under the stuff I was just talking about. I don't even know, imperial stuff. So that's pretty much all I gotta say about the spawn and everything surrounding it. I like the spawn. If I wasn't trying to save, I would definitely throw a couple in there to help max infuse some of the armors I have. I wouldn't go for the monster though. I don't need the monster. I have Misanari. Misanari increases use and dodge gains. It reduces ability cooldown times, cost recovery speed. It's got its own field buff, so that's kind of hard to remove, especially in player versus enemy. There's not any monster right now that can remove field buffs, so I need to take advantage of that. And yeah, I already kind of a monster that kind of does that stuff. And I have like Sphinx for like player like dual rooms or coliseums if I want to prohibit Unison, or I have Horus. I already have monsters that can prohibit Unison, so I don't need the monster. I have a monster that also costs Kinjin, so I don't need the monster. Like, I have monsters for different things in different situations. This monster is not extremely unique, though it is cool that it's flexible as a monster to use. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. This is the AzureWrath. I'm out. Peace.